So ever since the last ice age, InDesign has been the industry standard for creating multi-page design layouts. However, times are now changing, and alternatives such as Canva, Affinity Publisher, and even Figma are being used as viable alternatives by freelancers and small businesses. Compared to these new programs, InDesign is more expensive and harder to master, so should we still be using it? Well, if you're producing high-quality, print-ready layouts that require a high level of precision, then the answer is most likely yes. InDesign remains the go-to software for big businesses, universities, and design professionals around the world. And here's the good news. If you're an employer or a student working for one of these large institutions, it's most likely that they cover the costs so you don't have to. Now, when it comes to ease of use, there's no denying that InDesign isn't the best. In fact, it has a few quirks that can drive new users up the wall. And in this video, I'm going to share with you 5 of the most frustrating aspects of using InDesign. I'm going to explain why they're like this, and also give you some tips on the best way to work around them, and perhaps even start appreciating them, eventually. Let's start with the basics, adding content to your layout. Now, you might think you could add images to your document however you like, right? Well, not so fast. Here's a breakdown. Dragging and dropping an image into your document kind of works, but using the place command, which can be found in File and Place, is better still, and the recommended method to use. Copy and pasting images, however, is a big no-no. Why? Because InDesign uses a linking system for images. Instead of embedding images directly into your document, it creates a link to their location on your computer. This keeps your file size small and ensures high-quality output. But when you copy-paste the image, it actually does get embedded into the file, and that's bad for several reasons. Firstly, it slows down performance, it can cause errors and glitches, and the image degrades and pixelates every time you make an edit to it. So the solution here is quite simple. Use the place command in order to add images to your document. Copy-pasting does usually work fine for adding text, but keep it out of your image workflow. Now the next quirk is about controlling images and frames. And this is one that trips everybody up. You try to place an image and suddenly it's massive. And I'm talking 5 times bigger than the entire document. You try to resize it, but it crops instead. You try to move it and it disappears. What's going on? So here's the deal here. InDesign puts everything inside frames. Every image, text block, or graphic lives inside its own container. You can create frames before placing content, or let InDesign auto-generate them when you place something, but either way, you will have to manage both the frame and the content inside it. This gives you powerful cropping and layout control, but it is very confusing at first. Here's some quick solutions. To resize the image inside the frame, use the Direct Selection tool, which is the white arrow on the toolbar. And to resize the frame itself, use the Selection tool, which is the black arrow. To fit the image to the frame, right-click it and select Fit In, and then fill frame proportionately. It does take some practice, but once you get used to it, it becomes super intuitive. But until then, yeah, it can be quite frustrating. The third quirk is pixelation issues. While working, you may notice that some of your images look quite pixelated. Well, don't worry, because again, that's an InDesign thing. InDesign automatically lowers the display quality to save memory. If you're working on a large project like a book with hundreds of high-resolution images, this feature prevents lag and crashes, but for smaller projects, it's unnecessary. To turn off this effect, select View and then Overprint Preview. You can also permanently remove it by setting your display to high quality via View, Display Performance, and choosing High Quality Display. If things still look pixelated, it could be that you have a broken link and can now only see the thumbnail left behind. Check your error messages in order to resolve this. Finally, if it's neither of these things and your image is still looking pixelated, then it's likely because you're using a very low resolution image, which you should probably swap out. The fourth quirk is about saving your content, and this one is very important because it can cost you hours of lost time if you're not careful. So remember how we said that InDesign links content rather than embeds it. What this basically means is the images that you save aren't saved inside your InDesign document, but rather remain in the locations that you've linked them from. If you move the image content to another computer, or if your images are stored on a USB, which you have left at home, then InDesign won't be able to find them. When this happens, your links will break and your images disappear or only display a small thumbnail. You can avoid the danger of this by taking the following actions. Packaging your file regularly. Packaging creates a folder containing your InDesign file, all linked images, and any fonts which you've used. Neat and tidy. You can export your document as a PDF. PDFs are self-contained, so you won't lose any content. Use this for sharing or for printing. Double checking your links. If you see a broken link symbol, the little red question mark in your links panel, fix it before continuing. Knowing where your files are stored and keeping them organized is the key to avoiding this headache. The final quirk is about working on different versions of InDesign while using the same document. You've probably encountered this already if you've worked on multiple devices. Basically, you create a file on one computer using the latest version of InDesign, and then you try to open it on another running an older version. InDesign will try to convert the file, but this can take forever, or even fail completely. The solution to this is to save a second copy in IDML format as a backup. You can do this by going to File, Save As, and InDesign Markup. This is a more basic version of your file, which will work across multiple older versions of InDesign. Also, try to avoid switching between working on different versions of InDesign when possible. Newer to older InDesign versions cause these issues, but older to newer versions usually work just fine. So let's not sugarcoat it. Some of these quirks can be annoying, but now that you know about them, you'll be able to avoid a lot of these frustrations. And once you have mastered these oddities, you'll be able to unlock the awesome power and flexibility that make InDesign an industry standard software. So thanks all for watching, and goodbye for now. See you again soon.